This is the xSports Network.
Tired of driving into the city every time you need appliances, furniture, or heck, just about anything? Next time, stay local and come to Swap and Shop Center. We have everything you want, from computers to furniture, major appliances, lawn and garden tools, electronics, you name it. Our #1 goal is to get you the items you need at a price you can afford. We even offer 120 days same as cash financing. We won't be undersold. We specialize in service after the sale. We pick up where everyone else leaves off. Swap and Shop Center, family owned and operated in Lawrenceburg for over 61 years.
Tennessee Flight Training. We are training the next generation of pilots. Come and see why Tennessee Flight Training is the best way to learn to fly. Tennessee Flight Training. The skies are calling.
For the best at-home care in Lawrence County, the Summit at Home is the right company for you. We have a friendly staff over 25 that is trained, educated, and qualified to help with all your needs within your household. Our non-medical services include transportation, housework, dressing, and companionship. We are also covered by most long-term care providers. For more information, please call 931-762-2310.
Story and Lee, the Tennessee Valley's most dynamic furniture store, featuring our Made in America galleries with solid wood dining and bedrooms, leather furniture, mattresses, and so much more. You want it? We've got it. With our 3 acres of showroom and our huge warehouse, we're sure to have exactly what you want. And it's all ready to be delivered to your home absolutely free. Just try that anywhere else. We are Story and Lee.
Southern Tennessee Orthopedics welcomes orthopedic surgeon Dr. Paul Thomas. Count on Dr. Paul Thomas, podiatrist Dr. James Barksdale, and nurse practitioner Doug Ead at Southern Tennessee Orthopedics to keep your life in motion. Injuries and foot pain can rob you of the activities you enjoy most. So our team is here, close to home, to address the pain and to get you moving again. Southern Tennessee Orthopedics. From the routine to the unforeseen, you can count on us. To learn more, visit SouthernTennesseeMedicalGroup.com or to schedule an appointment, call 931-762-4400.
Hit a home run with the team at United Country Southern Tennessee Realty.
On the web, 931-321-8226.
Tommy Johnson, 931-722-4840.
Tyler Webb, 731-438-2084.
Travis Caldwell's 931-629-3033.
You're safe with United Country Southern Tennessee Realty.
Are you tired of missing out on family life just to be treated like another truck number? Since 1986, Southeast Cares has been a family-operated business based in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Being family-owned ourselves, we understand the importance of family, which is why we value it above all else. With our large number of dedicated lanes and our friendly staff, we are able to evenly divide your home time with the amount of time you spend on the road. We offer multiple benefits with large company pay, all while keeping a small company environment. For more information, visit our website at southeastcarriers.com or check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
Rent Right Equipment has all the tools you need to get the job done. From bobcats to trenchers to augers to lifts, we have a large variety of equipment for every project, big or small. Need a new mower? We have you covered there too. With great brands Hustler and Big Dog, Rent Right is ready to serve all your equipment needs. Call today and reserve your equipment from Rent Right Equipment in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
There are now more ways to save at Quick Mart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at Quick Mart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available in the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Great food is just a short drive to Hinie's BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hinie in town. When you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hinie Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hinie sauces, snacks, and more. Hinie's BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg.
From the xSports Network, this is xSports Live, presented by Hinie's BBQ.
And welcome everybody here to xSports Live at Hinie's BBQ. Back here on an absolutely gorgeous Wednesday evening. AJ Good joined alongside here by Clint Brazier. Dusty Kaiser will be joining us soon. He is on his way, and we should have him within the next couple of minutes. And Clint, I know you were busy last week, so it's good to have you back here once again.
Good to be here. Watched the show last week. Got Adam to fill in. Adam did a good job. We got quite a few Summertown girls. Coach Burleson here, so we got some good guests today. Ready for a good show.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned, we've got the Summertown softball team. They're our guest here tonight, and a team that has, after I believe last night on the road at Mount Pleasant, they hit a rough patch, but last night the bats really came out in a big way.
Yeah, they've been in. I think we'll talk to Coach Burleson more about it here. I think they feel like they've been in a little bit of hitting funk. Didn't have a good weekend last weekend. They played 1-3, I think, and had some opportunities against CA Monday in a 4-2 loss. Had some opportunities, had some hits, had some runners on, just couldn't get them home. But Hannah pitched a good game, played good defense. This CA scored 4 runs in the first 2 innings and didn't score any more. But the bad thing is, Summertown only scored 2 in the third, and that's all they scored. But yeah, again, sometimes it takes a good butt whipping to give to somebody, and everybody hitting to kind of break that loose a little bit.
Is it just one of those things where it's a long season, you're going to be playing 40-plus games, you're going to have a rough patch, and these sort of things just happen?
Yeah, and you'd rather be in a funk right now than you would in May. So.
Summertown baseball.
Summertown baseball's tied at 1, bottom of the 5th at even.
Okay.
So they just scored to tie that up. So they trailed 1-0 most of the game, but just scored in the top of the 5th. So they had a big win last night, a 1-0 8-inning win against Giles County. So they're still not hitting. We know the hitting woes. Talked to Coach Burleson. Talked to our buddy Timmy Kennett, who calls all those games. Yeah. We can't say what Timmy said, but it looks like those woes continue. But it looks like their defense, their pitching's starting to pick it up, where they're trying, able to win some close games anyway.
And they're playing a lot of close games.
They are.
That's kind of been the theme with them. Those games against Lewis County were close. The games this week against Giles County was close. Mm-hmm. And I know this is a tough district, and it's kind of proven itself night in and night out.
It is. I think Loretta's probably 1A above everybody, but I think everybody else, you could have a pretty good dogfight to finish that 2 seed and go to region, and you never know what's going to happen in the district tournament. So if you're something you're trying to build to where when it's district tournament time, you make them go on a run. I think that's their goal.
Heading over to the other side of the county here with Loretto, the softball team able to get back on the right track. A big win against Lewis County, and a team that has been playing in a lot of close games and hasn't come out on the right side of those, but was able to get a big win the other night against Lewis County. A must-win to kind of get that momentum back.
Well, the last time I was on, we were kind of giving a little update, and I said I was shocked that Loretta softball had gotten beat by Giles County as easily as they did, but it took Summertown a walk-off home run by Eric Abbott to beat them. So Giles, I may have not gave Giles County enough credit. They may be a pretty good ball team, but they do, and they've got some pitching they can lean on. They've got some kids that's been there a long time. You got a leader in Briley Dover. They're going to be okay. Your record doesn't matter as long as you make it to Murfreesboro.
Yeah, it's kind of what they went through sort of in a different way last year. They were
right.
kind of around that 500 mark, and then all of a sudden the postseason comes along, the bats come alive, the pitching comes alive. Is that kind of what we should be expecting?
I do. I fully do. Giles County does have a pretty good squad, and they've got a pretty good pitcher, but I think when it comes down to district tournament and region, I think you're going to look. It's going to be like it is in every other sport. I think it's going to be that black and gold team, that blue and white team.
Yeah, it just depends on which black and gold team is sitting there
That's right.
at the end of the day. Baseball-wise, they have a Loretto has only played one game since our last show. Obviously, rain took out everything that went down in Summertown and Lawrence County in their big tournament showcase last weekend, and got a win against a Florence team that's 5A, 6A in Alabama that picked up an 8-6 win. And this team has played a tough schedule. We've looked at the teams on that schedule, and they are winning big time.
Well, we were talking about Summertown and Lawrence County, and don't show it in the win columns. We've played some really good teams. Loretta's played some really good teams and show it on the win column. Yeah. So, as I said, they're just kind of taking care of business, and they're playing quality teams from Alabama and Tennessee. And I watched a little bit of that Florence game and saw, and you go to a school like Florence, they've got to have athletes there. I don't know how good they are, but you're 6A school, and and that's one thing I did say. I said, well, I know I missed last week's show, and I didn't really have a lot to talk about, but there wasn't a lot of games last week because it rained every day.
No, it was not despite the efforts of Jason Burleson and of Clint Wright over at Lawrence County. His field did look great until the rain came on Saturday. Until it came back on Saturday. So, and now switching over to Lawrence County, and I know baseball, softball-wise, things are not what either side was expecting at this point in the season. I know softball-wise, you lose your top two pitchers out due to injury, and not exactly what they were imagining when practice started back in June.
It is. Morale's a little low right now, but I as we know, Elle's kind of like Ella Hillhouse, basically my fourth daughter, and had to have a little tough love talk with her, and they went and played a good Tullahoma team close. They 8-3, and I think a lot of the runs that Tullahoma had were errors. I think Reagan Frakes pitched a pretty good ball game. I think they're starting to show a little more productivity top to bottom in their batting lineup, and it's just one of those you can't quit, because look, nobody in the state may beat Lincoln County. I mean, you don't need to worry about them, but you can still set yourself up to possibly finish number 2 in the district tournament. So that's the kind of talk I had with them is, don't worry about what happened against Lincoln County. Get better where you can start narrowing this gap against the other ones, and hopefully maybe by this tournament, because their pitcher that got broke in, she did come out of a cast. Yeah. So they're hoping maybe she can be back by this tournament. That'll change a lot of things.
Yeah. And just like you said, this is giving experience to other ones.
It is.
Reagan Franks, who probably wasn't expected to pitch until
not
next
as much,
year.
yeah.
Not as much, and she's now getting this experience. Now they're top of their lineup with Michaela Kerr, Ella, with Lake and Davis. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You have 1, 2, 3 there at the top of the lineup, but like you mentioned, you need 4 through 9 to also chip in, and we've seen a little bit more production out of those final 6 in the lineup lately.
I'm going to go watch tomorrow. Loretta does come to Lawrence County tomorrow, so I'm going to go watch. Told Jeremy Busby if he wanted me to, I'd help him on that, or I'd just sit down and be a fan. Doesn't matter. So a big shout out to Jeremy Busby and to who is it that Rodney that does the softball for Loretta. I appreciate you guys. That way I don't have to drive to Loretta and call a game or do all the Lawrence County games. I really appreciate you guys.
Now, on the baseball side of Lawrence County, a couple of tough losses to a really good Spring Hill team. I mean, that Spring Hill team's really good. We saw it yesterday, a lot of pop in the lineup, but I saw a lot of positives. They went down 7-0 yesterday in the first inning, and they come back, top of the second, bottom of the order gets the bases loaded, and they did most of that with 2 outs.
Right.
They haven't really been. The hits haven't come on the scoreboard and the hit column, but it's not like they're getting struck out 12, 15 times a game. They're only getting struck out about 4 or 5 times. We've seen better contact out of these guys the last couple games. The errors have started to drop down. They only had 1 the other night, and they actually turned to double play, and Braden Carter made some good plays in the field. And this is a young team. I know Clint Wright doesn't want to make the excuse that they're a young team, but it's kind of is what it is sometimes, and you got to go through it, and the more that they play against these good teams, the better they're going to end up in the long run.
Well, they will, and as you said, I don't think we've got any coaches around here. I know this one we're going to interview here in a minute. He's not one to ever make an excuse or have moral victories, but it is what it is. You're young, and you lost the left side of your infield. You lost your best player. You lost your captain and your leader before the first game was ever played.
Way before the first game.
And so you do have some excuses. So yeah, just keep getting better. Keep getting better.
And keep playing these tough. Lincoln County's good. Spring Hill's good. We'll see what Tullahoma has next week. And also kind of switching to the pro side, Ryan Weathers had his second start last night. Picked up the win against New York. 5 innings, 1 run off 3 hits, and he threw his first 2 starts. I don't know. I don't keep up with the Padres, obviously being a Cubs fan, but from what I've read, it was somewhat of a surprise that but he fought his way. He made a lot of adjustments in the offseason. He's now in the rotation, and back-to-back good quality starts against the Mets and the Braves, 2 pretty good teams, has got him going in the right direction.
And I'm like you, I haven't watched any of them because I'm not a Padres fan, but I have kept up with several people sharing things on Facebook and stuff, and you can recount his game. He's had 2 great starts, 2 great starts, and he has put in a lot of work over this offseason to work his way back. So, congratulations to him.
Yeah, in the minors last year, he had a lot of strikeouts. Didn't necessarily have a lot. He had a lot of walks. He gave up some hits, and you look at his numbers, especially in spring training, and now. I mean, his strikeouts are down, but you know what else is down? The walks, the hits, and the runs given up or down. So whatever adjustment he made, it definitely worked out in a big way. Now, I know we haven't seen you since the wrestling show. You said that you might have changed your Mount Rushmore since the last time. You might have came to mine and Dusty's side of the table here.
I'm still going to leave it like it is, but it after watching the Nature Boy, he just keeps digging himself in holes on being just a terrible person. He just, I don't know. I think about time maybe somebody put him in a nursing home. But I do want to give one more shout out. Miss Ainsley Burleson, she signed today with Columbia State. And so she'll be continuing her basketball career. I didn't get to go. I got busy at work, and I didn't get to go. I hated it, and I sent her a message to apologize. But proud of that kid and that young lady that she's going to keep playing at least for 2 more years.
Yeah, and she definitely, I've thought about her roles of where she could be, and she can get a little stronger and work on her game there. I mean, sky's the limit for her. There's definitely a lot of schools in this area that could have someone that has the range in her shooting, and we saw her game develop. And she can drive, she can shoot. Her defense is obviously very good, so she can be a pretty good player.
Had to be a post player the last 2 games of the season, so you can throw that in there.
Whatever helps get more better things on film.
That's right.
Well, coming up next, we're going to be joined by the Lady Eagles of Summertown, their softball squad. That's next on xSports Live from Hinie's BBQ.
Being raised in Tennessee, we believe in the importance of family and community. Creating a positive experience at our family-owned and operated business is one of the ways we share that belief.
Being in an accident can be extremely stressful. When it came time for my repairs, Mashburn's made it easy.
I am lucky to have a wonderful company in my community like Mashburn's Collision Center. It's reassuring to know that I'm in good hands because their work is second to none.
We pride ourselves that the Mashburn name is one of the most trusted in Lawrence County since 1981. Mashburn's Collision Center. Let our family take care of yours.
McMaster's Home Gallery, where you'll always get a special price every day. Shop their new showroom full of name-brand furniture, sofas, recliners, dining and bedroom suites, Serta bedding, lots of tables and chairs just to match your decor. McMaster's Home Gallery also has GE appliances. Stop by on Highway 43 in Loretto or call 853-6140.
Got primary care? Find your way to better health with primary care by One Stop Medical. With decades of combined experience, you'll find a one-on-one relationship just like the old days, but with the convenience and technology of today. When One Stop Medical does primary care, it's the best. Call today for an appointment and find your way to healthy living. Serving Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, and Hohenwald. Phone 931-244-8220. Primary care by One Stop Medical at its best.
From our humble beginnings to today, Parks Lumber Company has continuously served Lawrence and surrounding counties for over a century. Although we started as a small lumber yard in 1896, we have grown to include everything you need to make your dream project come to life. No matter your building needs, our experienced staff will be with you every step of the way to ensure you receive the highest customer service and attention to detail you deserve. Visit us at 106 2nd Street or on Facebook. We guarantee you will see working with PLC is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Are you looking for a non-factory job environment? Livingstone Freight Solutions is a 3PL company that began managing warehouses in Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. With our multiple shifts and experienced management team, our goal is to give you, as an employee, a safe family work environment and competitive wages. We offer a wide variety of employment opportunities from forklift drivers to management level positions. We also strive to offer a competitive benefit package and PTO options. For more information or to apply, visit us at livingstonefs.com or give us a call at 931-269-3255.
This is the xSports Network.
And welcome back here to xSports Live from Hinie's BBQ, joined by the Lady Eagles of Summertown, the softball team here tonight. Now, one of two segments since head coach Greg Burleson brought, looks like half of his lineup out here tonight. And Greg, I'll let you introduce your first two out here.
All right, this is Hannah Lindsay. She's one of our seniors this year. And then this is Reagan Burleson. She's a junior for us this year.
And also coach's daughter.
Yeah.
So she gets it worse than anybody.
She's petted and all that.
Yeah. Well, you guys able to kind of break out of a bit of a slump last night against Mount Pleasant. Bats came out and you got 15 runs on the board and a big win.
Yep. We was looking for some hits. We struggled a little bit, and we got in early in the year. We played 18 games in 18 days, to start out the year, and then we got some rain and had some rain outs, and then we got caught up into not being able to hit a little bit. No excuses, but we wasn't, without an indoor facility or anything, you really got nowhere to go. So we got kind of stuck 2 or 3 days of just trying to make do with some hitting. And softball to me is you need to be doing something every day, so it kind of got us there. So then we went back and played Wilson Central and Green Hill and them in the tournament this last weekend, and just never really got in the rhythm of things. So yeah, we was looking for something to get back, hopefully get going this week maybe.
How good for you two did it feel to break out the bats? And I know it was close early on, but that third inning you guys really came alive.
It was something that we've been waiting for and waiting to see, especially for us. That's not like us to not hit the ball, so finally starting to do it, really.
Reagan?
Yeah, same thing. We just wanted to get back into it because once we start, I feel like it's easier to just keep going, just have a starting point.
Yeah, I know, Greg, you've been around a while, coached a long time, and these sort of things happen. The bats sometimes and through a stretch of games just don't make contact or don't make the contact you want it to happen. How do you kind of just coach this team through these sort of ruts?
We've talked about it, and I kind of laid off of them a few games there and just kind of sit back and let them, told them, you got to come out of it yourself. It ain't something I can talk to you, but most of it, to me, turns into a mental game a lot of times. When you don't have success, and these girls we have this year, they want to be successful, they want to win, and if they have a bad at bat or two, it seems like it just kind of lets them down. And we just hitting is contagious, so if one or two will get it going, and that's kind of what happened last night. We had a hit or two and got somebody on, and you could just see the atmosphere in the dugout change. Everybody kind of started getting back up, and it felt like it just relaxed everybody. When that happened, then it seemed like we just started hitting the ball a little better. We had a good practice today. Everybody seemed more loose today and focused a little more, so I think it really kind of let the weight off their shoulders. They was pressing a little bit. We talk about sometimes the spring sports are really hard because you start running into, proms coming up, graduation, ACTs. It's just like something every week. So to keep their minds focused on the game, we felt like we did well early in the season because we were at Gulf Shores. We had them a week, we're away from everything, and it seems like you can stay focused on the game a lot more when you get back. Like I said, the springtime, April and May of school is tough because there's something going on all the time,
Well, touching on that, that's what I was fixing to ask you, Coach. You go to your field and all the success the softball program's had over the last 7-8 years. You got to fight it at the worst time. It's kind of like we know how much of a Debbie Downer Adam can get sometimes and how scared he can get, especially now that his baby's senior, but he was just worried about this little hitting funk he may be in. I said, well, look, I said, at least they're having it now. I said, because I can remember 2019, we were the best team in the state and had it the last 3 games of the year, and that was awful. I said, but you also got to remember you're fighting against prom, you're fighting against senior portraits, you're fighting against graduate, you're fighting, all the elements are going against softball and baseball. This is a bad time of year to try to be a competitive team. So, like he'd said, you just try to get through it and get on your district schedule and then roll into tournament time.
We play a lot of games. We try to schedule heavy. And, it's like I told the girls the other night, I'm not worried about how many we win as long as we win the last 10. That's the main focus when it comes down to it is, you can be, 10 wins and 30 losses, but you need to win those last 10. That's the main thing. So we try to schedule heavy and try to, play a lot of games. And we typically try to play a tournament at where the state tournament's at, in Murfreesboro, and then we try to spread out, maybe get a West tournament, an East tournament. So we kind of try to see everybody and try to get the caliber and talk to a lot of coaches that's played those other teams. So it's kind of a year-long training, scouting kind of thing, and hope that you get a shot at the end to see what you can do.
For you two, what's it like playing this type of schedule and this type of competition where you guys are seeing so many teams from so many different areas?
It's honestly, I feel like it's kind of helpful for us because you're not just seeing what's in your district and what's around you. You're getting to see other pitchers that throw different speeds, different pitches that work good for them. So I think it gives us an eye for everything that we could see in the future and down the road and later in the season.
Great.
Yeah, it's like if you're in the state tournament, tournaments, more games every day, more pitching, different things, because you feel this, like you see the same thing in district games all the time, so you're seeing something different.
Speaking of one of those tournaments, you guys got to play where the state tournament's going to be held. So what was that like, kind of getting an early sense of it?
I like it because it gives you that sense of the state tournament and that vibe that the state tournament gives, but you're just, I don't know, I just feel like we play more relaxed when we get there because it feels like a tournament we've already played on the weekends.
Yeah. Something you're used to, so it doesn't feel as much pressure.
Well, not to jump in on them, but Riley, his daughter, said it best that first year we played, we left. I think we played the first 2 games, and then we wound up winning the tournament, and she looked at me, we was going to the bus, and she goes, it felt like we was playing a travel ball tournament. It didn't even feel like the state tournament. And I said, good. And I was like, thank goodness, because it really didn't. Our girls didn't really seem like it was a big change because we played there before. They played travel ball there. And for girls softball, they don't hype it up as much as they do the other sports. So you go to those travel ball fields, you play the tournament, and then you leave. They don't call your names out. They don't announce. They don't. You're lucky if you get a national anthem or whatever. So
yeah, I mean they'll call it the first. They'll call it the first one, and everybody in there, they just do it field wide. But like you said, it feels more like a travel ball. I wish. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Coach, because you've got enough clout now with your record and maybe some other coaches, that are there pretty much year in, year out. But do you like this format, or would you like one day to see it to go almost like baseball setup where you may get to play that final game in MTSU or something?
It was awesome when I coached baseball that you got to go to MTSU. That was like the biggest thing ever for our high school kids that never really get to travel out of a little country school.
Right.
And it was huge for us to get to play there. From the other side of it, I like the relaxed part that we go take batting practice, we get on the bus, drive an hour, play the game, and then it's kind of like, hopefully you're going to do well, but it doesn't seem like the kids get as much pressure, even though in your mind it is, you're going to win every game. But also from the standpoint, if you're a spectator or a parent, you really feel like they're not getting the recognition maybe that they should get to play on stage. But maybe for what they've done, their accomplishments and those kind of things. And I think that's the feel from all the coaches up there, is like if it's a rain out, they're not tarping the fields, they're not doing anything where, as in baseball or the others, even a lot of the, even the schools we played on.
And my thing was, if you ever did want to go to it, you wouldn't have to, you could still do every, you just split it up just like baseball. You can still do everything at Sportsplex and McKnight. You just have that final game, winner take all. Just set it up like baseball. But it was so funny last year because I didn't call many games last year really until district tournament time came for you guys, and then I go to call that first game in the state tournament, and we're on the bottom field. This ain't right. We've been on that field over there for 7 years. It was, but we went up to classification too.
Hannah, it's your senior year. Does it feel like time has just flown by since, say, your freshman year up to this point right now?
Yeah, especially with COVID year, not getting to play a season, and the season flies by too. When you're playing so many games in so many days, it's like, all right, you finished one game, all right, you're focused on the next day. So I feel like it's flown by.
Was your freshman year the COVID year?
It was my freshman year.
Yeah, Hannah and Reagan both got pulled up as 8th graders, but your freshman year would have been COVID year, right, Ray?
This was our 8th grade.
It was my freshman year.
I got you. So, but Hannah got to play a lot in that state tournament as an 8th grader, and And so, that's one good thing that Coach Burleson does. You'll get at least, if the COVID comes, you still can get 4 years out of it because if you're good enough to play, he'll play. He's an 8th grader.
And I know your dad's over there talking on the phone. What's it like having him call your games?
I don't pay attention to him.
You don't go back and watch?
I just go back and listen to him talk about, that was not a good pitch, but, it's whatever, I'm just used to it.
Is it kind of like PTSD? Like
a little bit.
Heard this your whole life?
I've heard it my whole life, so I just get it again on the radio.
I'll tell you the good one. Me and Adam were lucky enough to coach with Greg and coach these two little heathens, when they were little bitty girls. And so, of course, me and Greg probably not the most calmest people and can be a little overcritical sometimes.
Really?
But
maybe clean it up.
But Hannah's mom sent Cody, who was helping Adam do the game, said, "Tell Adam to quit being so critical." She was with Hayden at a golf tournament, and said, "Tell him to quit being so critical with Hannah." And so Cody had to leave to go coach his son in baseball, and I got on, and then she said, "Oh, she's gonna get it double time now."
That's what we were talking about over there earlier, how this bunch is, we've had them since they were 6, 7 years old. And so, you've had them for 10 or 11 years. Anything I say to them now just kind of goes in one ear and out. It doesn't affect them like, you ain't going to hurt a feeling, you ain't going to do anything. And I think if somebody standing back would be like, oh my gosh, is he getting on it? They just take it like, okay.
He'll be over
he's a dad. Yeah, he's just like a daddy to all of them. They'll just go right on through and they don't pay me much attention, just move on. So.
Reagan, this is your dad here. Is this kind of what it's always been like? You're just sort of used to that.
Yeah, I'm used to it, but I mean, it's good sometimes.
She's kind of like my girls. We get a little easier. She probably don't get it as bad as Aniston did. Just like my youngest one don't get it as bad as my oldest one did. So
is it kind of just one of those things? You guys know how to filter it out, like you're getting the message, you're just not getting everything else that comes with the message.
Yeah.
And that's typically the way our kids have been coached in our area there. Clint could probably back that up, is typically all of our dads that we've had with our kids, they kind of want you to coach their kids hard. And it's kind of funny because we'll talk, sometimes we'll be like, all right, do y'all want to carry a bus tomorrow? We'll drive a bus, and then on the way back, all right, if you want to ride with your parents, no, we want to ride a bus. They don't want to ride back home. If it's a bad game, they don't want to be with mom or dad on the way home, so we always laugh about that. So we're carrying a bus, so they don't have to maybe they'll be asleep when we get home, so.
And I don't know if you had the softballs up with the state tournament appearances up. Did you have those up last year? Well, I'm proud of you, because I was saying whenever he does, because I knew you talked about putting up the banners from year to year, and I'm glad you put one up that just says COVID, because I don't care what anybody says, that team was going to be really hard to touch, and it was a shame because his oldest daughter, she got screwed out of her senior year, and Tori Campbell as well, but that team was. That team was going to make some noise. You're looking at maybe 3 out of 4 state championships.
I just talked to Jeremy Gallagher today. They was working on some lights at the field, and he was saying the same thing, that, that was Katie. Those girls, it was kind of interesting you brought that up, but Katie was an 8th grader that year. Then we had Kaylee and Jen and all those 9th graders. And I said, I was thinking the other day with this group out there, I don't know if I could imagine carrying 8th and 9th graders to the state tournament again. I mean, because those girls had been around us so much, it didn't seem like I felt like we were carrying juniors and seniors. I mean, you just coached them hard and we went and played, but I look now at our middle school and I think, if I had to carry middle school right now, I'd be a little, like, I'm carrying little kids, 14-year-old girls playing against 18-year-old women up there. It's a different, it's very difficult. And I look back on that, me and Jeremy was talking about that today, how strange that was.
There's a standard been set. I mean, you guys made it to the state tournament. You've won some state titles. I know there's an expectation around, but what's it like having the kind of the precedent set before you, and you guys continuing that on and on?
I like it. I feel like it gives us a goal that we have to set and we work for it. And I feel like we have always had that for us. Like, we have something that we set, and our goal is to win those last 10 games of the year, and that's what we strive for all season long.
Reagan?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but I mean, we wouldn't want any other way. We want to make it there every year. So.
Well, and I was proud of them even last year. I know it wasn't the outcome they wanted. It's still Final Four, finished last year, moving up to AA. But I was proud of them because those two there and a lot of kids, especially Katie Gallagher, who was just talking about, kids like that, They're not just, Coach Burleson's built a program where your goal is not to get to Murfreesboro anymore. You're there to win it every year, and it is disappointing if you don't win it. But you still got to kind of say, but they still get there every year. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you may not be happy with the final result, but at the end of the day, you still win a lot of games and you're getting there. A bad year is going to state tournament.
Yeah, it could be worse.
That's right.
It could be a lot worse. Well, coming up next, we'll have the other half of the Lady Eagles that Coach Burleson brought with him tonight. It's coming up next here on xSports Live from Hinie's BBQ.
What really matters during the ball game, I realize that in high school sports, we don't have the last names on the back of jerseys usually, but the question is often asked, are you playing for the name on the front or the name on the back? The same should be considered spiritually. Paul said in Philippians 1 and verse 21, for me to live as Christ and to die as gain. So who are we truly living for? What name are we trying to promote? Is it the name of Christ, the name of Christian? And that message brought to you by your friends at the Leoma Church of Christ.
Whether you're looking to spruce up the interior or exterior of your home or business, trust Lawrenceburg Glass to provide a one-of-a-kind product. From windows to mirrors, shower doors, custom framing, storefront installations, and everything in between, Lawrenceburg Glass takes pride in our quality craftsmanship and strong attention to detail. With us, your customer experience always exceeds expectations. We're reliable, on time, and we deliver stunning results. Lawrenceburg Glass. Our passion is reflected in our work.
Lawrenceburg Flooring and More is your premier source for hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl tile, sheet vinyl, residential and commercial carpet, carpet tiles, ceramic and porcelain tile, waterproof floating floor, plus blinds and shutters. Lawrenceburg Flooring and More is also home to all name brands and can tackle projects big and small. Installation? You're covered with installers who've got years of experience and stand behind their work. Let Lawrenceburg Flooring and More make your design dreams a reality. 2760 Highway 43 North, or visit LawrenceburgFlooringandMore.com.
Like you, our roots are in Lawrence County, providing banking for every stage of life since 1934. Lawrenceburg Federal Bank has been not just your bank, but also your friend, helping you with home loans, consumer and auto loans, and your everyday personal banking needs. Lawrenceburg Federal offers you a warm smile and personal experience, as well as the conveniences of modern-day online banking, mobile banking, and telebanking. Lawrenceburg Federal Bank, your neighbor and friend, located at 118 West Gain Street next to the courthouse.
Great food is just a short drive to Hinie's BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hinie in town when you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood-fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hinie Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hinie sauces, snacks, and more. Hinie's BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg.
This is the xSports Network.
Good win.
And welcome back here to xSports Live at Hinie's BBQ, joined by the other half of the Lady Eagles softball team that joined us here tonight. Coach Burleson, I'd like you to introduce who your next two.
All right, it's Anna Burleson. She's a junior, and Mackenzie Runnels. She's also a junior this year. So.
Also one of yours too?
No, we don't claim her. She's a relative, but she's not mine.
You got one.
I would claim. Yeah. I'd claim all these girls.
Well, like we talked with Reagan and with Hannah, you guys were able to kind of break out of a recent rut there. Bats really came out last night. What was that like to put up 15 against Mount Pleasant?
It was really it took away a lot of stress because we were kind of behind, not hitting the best, and then we finally got the bats going, and once one would hit, other would hit, and it just went through the lineup. So.
Mackenzie?
It was really refreshing, and like she said, it was contagious, and it just got our momentum going again.
Now, Mackenzie, you didn't have much time in between basketball and softball. What was it, 2 weeks between your final basketball game of the season and going into softball? How difficult was that, just going from one to the other just like that?
It's not bad. I really enjoy it. It's just keeping me going, and I just keep going.
On that note, Coach, and I was going to let Adam jump in here, but he must have got tied up with a work phone call. But, Coach, is this probably the fewest basketball players you've had?
I think we had, 4 or 5 this year. And typically that's how we kind of started going to that Gulf Shores tournament that first week, is because the girls were rolling over from volleyball to basketball to softball without a break at all. Parents kids, everyone was just going day to day to day. And we were having probably 10 of our 17, 18 kids that played other sports. And so we kind of thought, okay, if we can go to Gulf Shores, we'll get a good tournament, the weather's way better, and it kind of gives them a week of, we're going to play 3 days, and if you want to stay 3 or 4 days, you're off, and kind of relax, and let's get our team together, bond, and then we'll come back and kind of get started. So it's kind of a 2 ways that we use that tournament, but some of them never, like these girls, I mean, some of them we had in the past too that played basketball and volleyball, they never let up for 7, 8, 9 months, you know.
I mean, Mackenzie, you're constantly busy. I mean, do you go on vacation ever? Or did you ever have a break?
Every once in a while.
Goes beach on spring break to play softball.
So, I mean, just talking about how busy you are constantly, but like you mentioned, it's a good thing. You like being busy.
I do. You know, I can't imagine myself just sitting at home and doing nothing. I just got to keep doing something.
And Coach, we talked a few weeks ago about that Gulf Shores trip, you know, and Adam said it could have been 5-5, you could have gone 0-8, you could have gone a lot of things, but you guys made it all the way to the championship game, and I know for all 3 of you that was a good sight to see, especially knowing the competition you were facing.
Right. You're usually guaranteed. You play 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, guaranteed, and then on Wednesday you start single elimination. So our goal is, you know, let's get 2 or 3 games we need to play so we can move people around and see different pitchers, how we're going to respond to things, and then, you know, it's all about how you get in a bracket with somebody, and which pool, and those kind of things. So some weekends is good and some's not, but we did well. We played some really good teams down the stretch, and then run into Tuscaloosa County, and I've not seen. She's probably the best pitcher I've seen since I've been doing it. Coach told me she was doing 68, 69. She was left-handed. She was stepping about that far out of the circle, and I mean, you could tell, like, Erica's our leadoff, you know, and she goes up there, and the slapper can typically make contact and adjustments. When she whiffed on 3 pitches, I kind of thought, okay, well then 18 strikeouts later, I mean, it was like, you know.
So give us her second place too.
She definitely shut us down. She's the most dominating. I would say the girls probably agree. It kind of after the 3rd inning was just kind of laughable almost. As bad as I hate to say it, because we were on our 4th or 5th game of the day, and then you see that. You know, you're thinking, all right, everybody's burning out of pitching. We might have an opportunity end of the day, something like that, and then we see the best thing we've seen in 13 years. You know, so it is what it is. But we need to see it.
You didn't go last year and the year before, right? So you took a 2-year break. Okay. What he was touching on, you going not getting a break. I remember in 2018 we won the state championship. We lost the state championship in basketball. You didn't get time. You didn't have no time to go home and cry about it or mourn about it, because you had to load up the car and get on the road, because we played 2 days later at the beach. And I remember the year before that. Oh my gosh, AJ, we go down there and I packed clothes like this. I had to go to Dick's Sporting Goods, buy a whole new wardrobe, because I don't think it ever quit spitting rain and snow, and was about 30 degrees, and they played in it. And I just remember telling Greg, I said, I think everybody's ready to quit. And he said, I am too.
That year that they went to the state tournament and played in the championship on Saturday, and of course we leave out on Sunday and play on Mondays, and the basketball girls are getting to the beach and unzipping their bag for the first time, going, do I have any batting gloves, Mom? Yeah. Like they didn't know what they had. They didn't know if they had a glove. They hadn't swung a bat in BP in 7 months probably. And we're going, okay, this ought to be real good.
It's going to be a good start.
We asked the other 2 for you guys, the competition you guys have played, not just at Gulf Shores, just in general, has been really tough. How do you think that sets you up, knowing that postseason is just around the corner here in 2 weeks?
It gets us ready for different kinds of pitching. You'll see faster, slower, like different types, and it just gets you ready to like play together when it like comes to matter and district and getting bunched down. Everything just matters, and you figure out like you have to work as a team, and you have to do everything you can and always like be together. Yeah, it gets us prepared, and we can see different pitchers, and we can work on the plays and execute them when it's time.
Yeah. Now, Mackenzie, question I just thought of, you play for 3 pretty intense coaches in volleyball, basketball, and softball. Who's the most intense
I don't know. That's a tough
Andrea,
one.
Jeremy, or Greg?
I don't know. Andrea's
I've seen it, yeah.
She's not going to break, does she?
I've just got to think of that she's probably about the only three sport I can think of is Mackenzie. I can't think of
who
else
either.
Who else might be playing three. I think you are. Man, you don't. Of course, you would think summertime get here. No, they'll be going volleyball and basketball camps, and I'm sure you'll play some travel softball as well. So.
Right over. Yep.
And also for both of you guys, your roles obviously increase throughout the years. You know, Mackenzie, you're moved up more into the order, you know, and Anna, your role has been changed a lot. How do you guys kind of settled into those roles and trying to keep this ball rolling in summertime?
Well, you got to do like your job and always have to runners on base. You have to hit it where it's supposed to be hit. You got to execute bunts, execute every play. And it's just a lot more as you get older because you're at the bottom of the lineup and you get moved to the top and you have more of a job, you feel like. And as you're older, like the younger girls will look up to you more and you feel like you need to get your job done and do what you need to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure at first, but once you get used to it, it's fine. And I think it becomes easier once you just keep going.
And Greg, you've seen them obviously through middle school, and same with Reagan and Hannah. And what's it like kind of watching them develop? Like they start off in middle schoolers, then they come in, they're at the bottom of the order, now they're at the top of the order. What's it like watching them progress throughout the years?
We see that a lot because we've usually practiced before the middle school comes in, and I get a kick out of the high school that they'll come in and maybe they're getting dressed and ready to leave and see the middle school throwing or warming up, and they'll be laughing at the middle school watching them do stuff, and I'm thinking, you did the same thing 3 years ago, and I'll tell them that all the time. Don't you be laughing because you were doing that 3 years ago. And it's fun to watch them develop, or you see them execute something that we've worked on a lot, and it's obviously helps us win games when we execute the plays. But it is, as they get older, you see them starting to learn the game and hitting behind runners and doing things that, in middle school or little, you just make contact and let's just get on base. And now, it's a different story. And we have Loretta, Forest, Giles County, and then we go to Gallatin this weekend for two. I mean, it doesn't get any easier. So you have to be so precise. And just like the games we talked about this week, the games being videoed all the time, every school is watching everybody now, so it makes it that much more difficult because used to you had to load up and carry your pen and pad and go scout and watch people. And now when people come in, I can hear them talking, don't do this or don't do this, and you're thinking, all right, they know everything about us. So you really have to fine-tune everything because they'll watch your weaknesses. Everybody knows your weaknesses, so you try to eliminate every weakness you can, I guess, the best that you can as they get older.
Well, girls, I think y'all can touch on this. Coach Burleson doesn't really get too fired up on you messing up or anything like that, but I know what irks him is not knowing if a fly ball's behind you or in front of you, or little simple base running stuff. Is that stuff that you just kind of take on yourself and you're having to teach these younger kids now, or just like the other night against CA? You had. I don't even know that I would say they hit bad the other night against CA. It just couldn't hit the runner, it couldn't get them home. Yeah. It's just little things like that you just got to learn off.
Yeah.
Situations is key for us. I mean, we do a lot of that early in the year and just put runners on and just switch up 9 and 9 and try to execute and learn the situations because and Jason talks about it with baseball too. The guys is just run into third when the ball's hit to the shortstop, or leaving third with just little things you take for granted sometimes can take you right out of a game. And trying to tell the girls, with runners on second, third, hit this away, or do certain things. So, like you said the other night, it was even the coach CA where he was talking about that, how boring that game was because it was like we just kept leaving runners on and nobody really wanted to take the game. And we've had opportunities, and we had opportunities last weekend, and it's just like. 2 runners on and 1 out and can't get a run in. It's just like we hit it to the wrong person at the wrong time, So, it's growing pains. It's good for us to learn. I like to see us what we're weak at. I mean, it helps me too to know we need to go back and work on those things.
Now, Greg, I know you've coached a lot of sports. It seems like you've coached every sport. Which one's the most difficult to coach of all of them that you've done?
Baseball and softball both are, being in the spring sports, like I said, just the distractions of it, and it's a quick, it's 60 days and you're playing 40-something games, so you're gone every day and you're on the road and then trying to keep everybody focused. and hope that you don't get an injury along the way that could really disrupt the season. Those kind of things. Those things are, you're always planning on, fixing you got to get the field fixed. You're going to have a just so many things. It's on your mind. And at some point you have to teach class, during the day. You got to work. So there's a lot of things. And your scouting teams and things like that. So to me, I think that one is, because you don't have time. If we lose a game tonight, you've got to forget about it and get ready for tomorrow, or you'll get beat again tomorrow. I mean, it's got to be over with. Basketball,
you're also
football,
fighting the weather, this time of year all the time too.
Now, the other sports, it seems like you have 2 or 3 days to recuperate or kind of get your mind set again, go to practice again. This one's tough the way we schedule, it's just day to day. I mean, you better be ready.
Now, for everyone, the home stretch coming up here for you guys, just how important is it to get focused in, like Coach said, fine-tune everything, and knowing that the postseason is just literally right around the corner here in just a handful of days?
You just, like he said, you play day after day, and you play on Wednesday and you have a game Tuesday, and you don't play your best on Wednesday, but you just have to let it, think, okay, I did this, I need to fix it for the next game, and you just have to just reset every game.
Yeah, playing every day, you have to forget about your mistakes the last game and just it's exciting, but you still got to really focus on what you're doing the next game.
Coach?
Same. I mean, it's you want to enjoy the wins when you get them because they're tough to come by, and you want to enjoy it, but then at the same time you're driving home at night thinking, all right, what are we going to do tomorrow? Who's the situation? Who's going to pitch tomorrow? What do we need to work on bunts, hitting, whatever it is. And so you're trying to plan a practice schedule or a pregame for the next day in your mind just to get things back on track. And this week we just kind of went back to basics of hitting, just go back and get your mind clear and let's just kind of loosen up and play. So, it happens every year. There's always that time of the year. We did it last year at Riverdale, went up there and tanked 4 games up there and looked like we've never played before in the second week of the season, and you're like, oh no, this is what we're going to run into. And then over time you just take them game by game and hope you work yourself into them.
Coach, we had Jason on a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't realize this, and I think it's a little bit stupid, but whoever wins their regular season gets host district tournament. How do y'all do it?
As right now, we've been rotating through. So you get, typically in those district meetings, when they've been redoing our district so much lately, typically what we've done in the past is just start alphabetical order. When you come into a new district and go, okay, you've got it this year, and send it out. And some years you'll have somebody that don't want to host it, or maybe they're going to work on their field this year. Or do some
I know Giles County did last year, so
it would be us this year because Mount Pleasant and Lewis County, we're kind of like, y'all take it these 2 years, and then let's look at when we redo the district, because next year we'll lose Giles County and just be a 14 district. So obviously Lewis or Mount Pleasant would probably get the option, and we'll set it up for another 2 or 4 years. But I never turn down the opportunity. If they give us a chance, I want it.
Well, that's right.
If we can.
But he told me that, and I thought, well, that's really good for Loretta baseball, and it would be really good for summertime softball if that's the way it worked. But where is the region this year? Whose year is it to host?
Region would be if you win your district,
because it's just top 4, yeah.
And then last year, it was fortunate enough that us and Loretta both, so the higher seed would get the host on Wednesday. I think last year was one of those years we would have had to travel west.
Right. So if Loretta hadn't won. Yeah, that's only one time a year you're ever Loretta fans.
Yeah, you just like, please, bring somebody here so we don't have to travel, But I think this year the west teams would come to our place.
Right.
And it looks, from what I'm seeing, it could be the same. Westview and some teams, similar to what it was last year, way it's setting up.
All right, guys. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for coming by here on xSports Live tonight. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Who do we got tomorrow?
We go to Lewis County. Lewis County tomorrow.
Have y'all? Sorry, I know we're trying to go to commercial, but when are we making up the Forest game? Has that been set? Because I know y'all were going to try to.
Next Wednesday, we're going to play at our place instead of theirs, and then on May 1st, that'll be the one that the rain out, I guess.
Okay.
So
Tomorrow.
All right, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I want to make sure I'm
clear
at that
things
game.
up for everyone watching. All right, well, coming up next, me and the guys are going to talk about our favorite all-time sports movies. That's coming up next here on xSports Live from Hinie's BBQ.
Are you looking for the perfect refrigerator? What about a new stove, or washer, or dryer? It only makes sense to shop at the one place that specializes in appliances, top to bottom, big or small. And that's Kelly Appliance in Lawrenceburg. Kelly Appliance is home to all major name brands, including LG. LG makes life good with a full selection of refrigerators, cooking appliances, dishwashers, microwaves, and more, including appliances made right here in Tennessee. Family owned and family operated. Stop by Kelly Appliance on Jerry Street in Lawrenceburg today.
Whether it's popcorn, biscuits, or automotive, you need the right ingredients to achieve the best results. Heritage Automotive is proud to serve our community with a continually growing inventory. We also help our community grow by contributing to a vibrant economy, which helps build schools. I'm Keith Durham, and I'm the General Manager here at Heritage Automotive, and it's my job to make sure that you're 100% satisfied. Heritage Automotive, your hometown Chevy, Buick, and GMC dealer.
Hey, this is Phil Hooper. Get the look you want for your favorite school, church, or business with apparel from HD Ink Screen Printing in Leoma, Tennessee. Got a logo you need embroidered or screen printed? Let HD Ink give you the professional look that sets the bar in today's world. We do fundraisers and custom designed apparel and so much more. Call today, 931-201-2961, or come see us at our new shop located at 26 Ingram Road in Leoma. Remember, HD Ink for the look you want and the look you deserve.
Have an H&R Block Tax Pro do your taxes online, and tax season feels just as good as all those other seasons, like wedding season.
I W-2 you.
Taxes.
File from anywhere with the expertise of an H&R Block Tax Pro.
Flooring sets the tone throughout your home.
For flooring that makes the right first impression, start by choosing us, Floored by Justin.
A one-stop flooring destination. Our new location stands alone for unequaled customer service and selection. Owner Justin Story's mastery of custom hardwood inlays means every room can have a custom look. Discover how the right choice of hardwood, laminate, carpet, or tile can set the tone in your home. Contact Floored by Justin today.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Employee Resources Credit Union is an easy solution to banking, offering a personal, simple, yet modern way to bank. When you bank with ERCU, you are a shareholder, meaning you own a piece of the pie, and we make it easy with the convenience of digital banking, with service you won't find at another financial institution, including low to zero fees and incredible rates. We have the technology you need with the personal service you deserve, right here in your own neighborhood. Employee Resources Credit Union, not for profit, for service.
I'm Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in Auto Owners Insurance. Auto Owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the Auto Owners policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretta, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
This is the xSports Network.
Welcome back here to xSports Live, brought to you by Hinie's BBQ at Hinie's BBQ. Now joined here by Dusty Kaiser. Obviously we have Clint. Now Adam Lindsay, obviously his wife nor his daughter hurt him or murdered him by after last week's most epic rant. Might be the most epic rant we've ever had on xSports Live. I mean, that literally came out of, came out of left field. I mean, you were in the parking lot with
Dude.
that.
Hey. Well, when he said, I'm probably going to make somebody mad, I was really thinking political. I thought he's probably fixing to go political with something, but okay, I'm down with it.
Yeah, my wife would strongly disagree with what you said.
She didn't agree.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, they wear. I mean, I think they wear them to church. Let them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everyday attire now. It's not even a sports attire anymore.
It's the problem with the world today.
Well, Dusty, I don't know if you heard this, but Clint, we almost have Clint this far from taking you-know-who off of his wrestling Mount Rushmore.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
we're close.
Well, no, I mean, I'm still gonna leave. I'm gonna leave him up there until
what?
match.
Until they put him in a nursing home, or?
Well, I told AJ I think they need to.
I mean, come on, man.
Everything I keep seeing, man,
he's killing his legacy.
He sure
Just being honest, he's killing it.
He sure is. But that still doesn't take away everything he's done or did. You know what I mean?
Well,
but man, it sure makes him hard to like him.
It does.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I watched the latest A&E on Dusty Rhodes this past week. I'm sort of glad that didn't come out before we did that show, because they framed Dusty like.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
They did. They made him out to be a bad guy.
Adam, do you have a wrestling Mount Rushmore?
I didn't really come prepared tonight.
Well, I know we're just kind of throwing.
So how many would be on it?
Well,
probably
four.
You can add a fifth.
You can add a fifth.
Well, I mean, I think your top two for me. I'm gonna look at Flair and Hogan.
Okay.
I think have to be.
Yep.
Flair's the one we were talking about.
Yeah.
They didn't really want to put him on theirs, but I did have him on mine just because of his lifestyle and the way he's been acting lately.
Yeah.
And he's almost off the deep end. I don't know.
I think he's lost his mind.
Yeah, I think so too. I think CTE's a real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got Flair and Hogan.
You gotta have Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I mean, I would say Austin.
Yeah.
But that would probably be my third. Like I said, I didn't really come prepared, but
didn't come prepared.
Do you know what our topic is today?
I think I read something
Sports
about
movies.
Sports movies.
Sports movies.
Yeah, I can take care of that.
Can you do that?
Oh, yeah.
You need a phone to look it up? Or you
No,
good?
no, I've got that.
You want to start us off? We'll give them some time to think about it.
Oh, thank you. So my first one, I've got to say it is Major League. I've got to go Major League. It's my number one. Number two is Remember the Titans for me.
Oh, okay.
Number three is Coach Carter. And I'm going to do two more, and this is for my son if he's watching, The Sandlot and Mighty Ducks.
All right.
For those. And then, like I said, I've got some honorable mentions. I guess we talk.
What are your honorable?
Days of Thunder.
Coach Burleson, I'll get him to listen.
Days of Thunder for me is a great.
Man.
I feel like it is.
It's a good one.
That's not a sports movie.
But he said Major League.
Yeah, he's a
All
Major League.
Well, AJ, you've probably met Jeff Franks before. You know, Coach Burleson, this is mine and Jeff's Jeff's youngest, my oldest, Josie and Riley, their junior year. And we're playing Meigs County, and it's the game to get to the championship game. And they've got the kid that's pitched for UT for the last 4 years that, nobody can touch. And they're just kind of blowing us out of the water and striking everybody out. Well, Coach hadn't let, Josie was pretty much a extra player. She just played outfield, never got to hit, and he just kind of let her hit because he knew it was pretty much over.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff and I would always work in our Bob Euchreisms all during softball season.
Yeah.
So that game, Coach Burleson goes to call timeout, and he tells, and might have been my middle daughter to swap with her, and Josie to come out there and hit, and Jeff Franks had the perfect timing, and he said, well, obviously Burleson's thinking, I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
Another 3 installments. Like, there were some good lines in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, some of them we can't repeat.
Really can't. No.
The first one, it's the spring training scene when he goes, "Come on, Torm, what's up with this old lay?" Whatever.
Yeah.
Or my favorite part's when they call him, the manager, and they go, "How would you like to manage the Indians this year?" "Oh, I don't know. Hang on, would you? I got a guy on the other line about some white walls."
There's so many good one-liners, and I try to use them. I say it all the time on our broadcast when I may say something that probably pushes the boundary or whatever, and I say, nobody's listening. I even pulled it on Adam one time this year. I was kind of trying to set him up and to come in and talk about something, and he's staring off and doing something else and doesn't say a word. And I said, well, he's not the best color commentator in the business for nothing, folks.
The journalism school's really paying off.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going if you'd still had some.
Field of Dreams is another one for a baseball guy. And I'm going to end it with White Men Can't Jump.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's
that is a good one.
I'm going to go to my car and get my other gun.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite's Hoosiers.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Major League is one. Field of Dreams right up there. Probably Hoosiers 1A and The Natural 1B. Probably my top two. As far as sports movies goes, I love Days of Thunder. I love Necessary Roughness. I love Necessary Roughness when I was a kid, but you watch it today, it's more dumb.
Oh, I have watched it.
It's a whole lot funnier when you're dumb than it is when you're old.
Yeah.
But I always love that movie. And I'll be honest with you. We're all wrestling fans. I love The Longest Yard.
Because it had all the wrestlers in it.
Even the remake, I love the Burt Reynolds version, the old one.
Yep.
But the Adam Sandler, I loved it just for all the wrestlers that were in it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's Goldberg, Stone Cold,
Kevin Nash,
the Great Khali.
Yeah, the Great Khali.
Had to get out of the psych ward.
Yeah. He broke it in my nose.
Yeah.
Let's see, there was another. And we was talking about, I think you just said it, The Wrestler, but man, that movie's depressing.
It is, man.
And I
think it's
can't watch the deli scene. It just
it's just rough. Adam, some of your
I got 4.
Okay.
Now they may not be iconic, but they're my favorites.
Okay.
Of course, you got Field of Dreams. 8 Men Out is another one I really like.
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe.
Moneyball with Brad Pitt.
That's a great one.
And this one, it's kind of old school, but my son really likes it too, is Blue Chips, if you remember.
I got it on my list right there.
Yeah, with Nolte and all them guys.
Shaq and Penny.
Yeah. That's one too.
Nico.
That's a good
one. Dion DeBow.
Yeah. Neon
DeBow.
Yeah. Had to go find him down in Cajun country.
Yeah.
Take a swamp boat to go find him.
That was a great movie. Nick Nolte was classic.
They said, well, that's the problem, Coach. Said he only made 600 on his SATs. They said, we give you 400 spelling your name right. And he said, that's just it. He didn't spell his name right.
Well, I've actually got mine broken into 2 categories: films and documentaries. I'll let you guys think of some documentaries.
I didn't even.
That's what I told him. I didn't think about documentaries.
I didn't think about it until now. But my favorite sports movie of all time is Miracle, the story of the '80 U.S. Olympic hockey team.
Yep.
Love Major League. I can quote that movie day in.
He done it to me last night,
and
actually.
Day out. Yeah. And I sent him a text, and I go, I feel like Bob Uecker some days, and he goes, well, look, turn on the TV right now, and Major League was on there.
Yeah, I'll show you the picture. You can read.
Yeah.
As I'll send him the pictures. And then,
Now, we won today.
Yeah.
If we win tomorrow, that's 2 in a row.
Yeah.
They call that a winning streak. It has happened before.
The first 2 Mighty Ducks movies. The third one was just goofy. Like, how can you go from world champions to barely beating the varsity as a high school? Like, that just didn't.
Yeah.
That bad storylines, pal. You know, it's just didn't make any sense. Slapshot. The original.
Paul Newman.
Yeah. Slapshot's really good. Here's one kind of out of nowhere. Little Big League. Where that little kid,
the Minnesota Twins.
He owns the Twins because his grandfather gave it to him. Then he ends up becoming the manager of the Twins. I watched, someone did a breakdown of that video. It's like, if you actually watch the action, they legit brought in minor leaguers and pro baseball players to do the baseball scenes.
Well,
and remember who was in that movie? You had Randy Johnson and King Griffey Jr.
Yes.
And they had something like 15 or 20 current major leaguers at the time. I actually went back and watched it the other day on Amazon. It's amazing. Like,
well, and as
the
you were saying,
storyline's not bad either.
You know, there's some in Major League's even one of them.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams is one of them. Not Field of Dreams. A League of Their Own. There's nothing, because we all play.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that makes me more mad than watching a baseball movie where it's obvious they've hit a foul tip pop up.
Yeah.
It says screamer to the fence. And it's just
Yeah, something just
and you're right. That looked like it's actually really how it's supposed to play, because there's nothing drives me crazy than seeing somebody winding up and pitching and it's got that much arch on it, and next thing you know, it shows the frame of the catcher. It goes,
But this movie, like, it actually had, like, I love the scenes where they're actually playing the game. You can tell it's not digitally enhanced.
Yeah.
Like, actually, Ken Griffey Jr. did it, a home run. Soon someone threw him a BP fastball, and he hit it out. That was actually him doing it.
Right.
It's a good one. Basketball movie, Glory Road, about the UTEP team that won the national championship, the first all-black starting lineup, and they beat Pat Riley and Adolph Rupp in Kentucky.
Did you say that? You said Glory Road?
Glory Road, that's the name of the movie.
I thought there's a documentary about that as well.
Yeah, it's
really
not the most historically accurate movie,
Yeah.
but it's still, I think it's shot well.
Well, I don't think it was. I don't think any of those games was ever as close as what the actual Disney movie made it.
Yeah.
I think they beat Kentucky pretty bad, didn't they? In the national championship.
It
wasn't close.
was like almost a 20-point game.
Yeah.
Like, it might have been close at halftime, but the second half wasn't close. Obviously, for personal reasons, we are Marshall. I was actually covering the team at the time when the movie was being made, so got to see a lot of crazy stuff happening in Huntington. Again, not the most historically accurate movie, but it still captures the premise of where that program was as to where it is. The Jordan version of Space Jam.
Thank you.
Yes, the Jordan version is,
I can't comment on the other one because I haven't watched it.
I've had to watch it with my son, and it just tastes not good.
And to wrap up the films, the Adam Sandler movies, The Waterboy and Happy
Yeah.
I forgot about Waterboy.
The Waterboy.
We were talking about it at work.
I'm the water boy. You know, it came out when I was in high school. So, of course, my junior year, every drill we do, you know, you're acting like, you know, Bobby Boucher and trying to slam into somebody as hard as you can. So, on the documentary side, I love the Big Shot one about the guy that bought the Islanders with no money.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one. I don't know if you've seen it, Adam, but it's fascinating. This guy literally bought the New York Islanders with no money.
Really?
Yeah, and how he did it and how he got away with it's fascinating. The 4 Days in October about the Red Sox coming back and beating the Yankees down 3-0. That one's great.
The Hunt.
The SMU football one, Pony Excess, and all the stuff that went down. They gave him the death penalty, which is awesome. The one ESPN did, the 3-part Celtics-Lakers rivalry.
That's great.
Because it mainly highlighted the 80s, but the first part of it broke down everything that happened in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And part 3, you know, kind of went into, you know, the latter half when they played each other twice in the finals in like 2012, 2015, and that
somewhere in that time frame.
ESPN did one a bunch of years ago where they followed 5 Texas high school football teams and they play 7-man football. And like going into the town dynamic, I think it's just called Texas 7-man. And they dive into it's all these small communities, and their goal is to play in the state championship game in Jerry World. And one of the teams they followed ended up going there, and just everything that went into it, and they even break down how they play 7-man football, which is, it's like Arena League football with just a few little differences. And then there's one on Netflix and Amazon called Knuckleball. So it featured Tim Wakefield and some of these other guys of how they learned to throw a knuckleball and follows their careers. And it's almost like a glorified documentary from Wakefield's last year in the big leagues.
Right.
But it brings in, they have this big round table of the Necros and Wakefield and R.A. Dickey, who learned to throw the power knuckleball. So.
Well, I'll tell you 2, and I don't know if you were still going. If not, you
I'm done.
2 documentaries that are on HBO that you can watch right now. One's Tiger.
Yes.
It's a 2-part series about Tiger Woods. The first episode is about him this big growing up to the success he has. And then the way the first episode ends is one of the women come on and say, "What are we going to talk about?" And it cuts off. and then gets ready for the next episode.
Yes.
So those are great. The other one's Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the Andre the Giant
It's a great
documentary on HBO, it is fantastic. Now, I think I've even talked about this on the show when we were referencing something. And of course, Dusty's an Alabama fan, and I'm not. But I do acknowledge Nick Saban's probably the best football coach there's ever been, with the exception of maybe Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
And if you've haven't ever watched, Showtime did it. This documentary, it's called Turning the Tide.
Okay.
And it's about Bear Bryant. He was Alabama, the state, nobody in that state would let him recruit black players.
Yeah.
And he was the only team that he was the only team in the SEC that still wasn't.
Yeah.
And he knew that he needed them.
Yeah.
So he went out to Southern California and met his good buddy Jim McKay, who coached USC. And he said, "I want you to do me a favor." He said, "I'll pay you $300,000, which was a lot of money for the late '60s. And he said, "I'll pay you $300,000." He said, "I want y'all to come open up y'all season at Tuscaloosa next year."
And they came in and thumped them.
And they came in and beat the living crap out of Alabama. And just hearing all these interviews from all these people, these writers and these historians from down there, he said it was so funny. You'd be in a coffee shop or the barber shop the day before the ball game. They say, "We're gonna show them we don't need these colored boys. We don't need no black players down here." And then the very next day, said, "Man, we got to get us some of them black players."
Yeah.
You know, and it was just touches on the genius Bear Bryant had. That, all right, you won't let me? I'll show you. I'll show you. We got to show you.
And Jim McKay, he's a West Virginia native, so I'm kind of partial. Same with Saban, but he has some of the funniest press conference quotes you've ever heard. Like he was a coach of the Buccaneers when they had that infamous 26-game losing streak.
Yeah.
And when they finally won that first game on a Hail Mary in the Superdome against the Saints, he goes, "Well, 2 plane crashes and a train crash, and we're in the playoffs." He also had another one. They got, I think, thumped by the Chiefs one day, and he goes, "Well, we didn't block well, but you know what? We made up for it by not tackling." So pretty good. You got any?
A documentary
and of course, The Last Dance. I mean,
I was going to talk about that. But
I'm the biggest Jordan fan. I think there probably is, and that really opened up. It really opened up a lot of stuff you didn't know. You know, when you get to hear, what, and to hear that Michael Jordan's teammates really didn't like him. You know, they thought he was rough, but they also realized they couldn't have got what they got if he's not pushing them. He's not wearing them out, and just little things like that. I mean, that was 10 episodes, 10 parts.
It was 10 parts.
That was a great documentary.
It happened during COVID, so they were running two.
Yeah, they run 2 a week. Yeah. The documentary about the Dream Team.
That was great.
I think that was. You hear them talk, and they say it was one of the greatest games never filmed.
Yeah.
When they actually played against each other. Bird had to sit out because of his back hurting, and
Magic messed up and talked trash to Jordan.
Yep, and I think they talk. Of course, Jordan was already Jordan, but it was kind of like the passing of the torch. And
you're touching on that. Another one that's on HBO that you can watch that get to what you're talking about, but it's the Inside the NBA. They do a 4-part where they talk about Ernie the first episode, then Kenny, then Chuck, then Shaq, and because they break it down like 30 years, I guess, 30 years that show's been on.
Oh,
and it's great. But Michael Wilbon was talking about, and he was saying, he said, they like to give Chuck a hard time because he never won a ring. That's what Shaq and Kenny, they just really rubbed in. He said, but you know what Chuck and Shaq and Kenny never did? They were never the best player on the best team that's ever been created, and that was the Dream Team. And because through that, Chuck was the best player on that team. Yeah. He had the best stats, and he was the best player on that team during that run.
Yeah.
And Michael, I thought, well, that's pretty good. Michael Wilbon says they can get rid of him all they want, but they were never the best player on the best team that's ever been assembled.
Yeah. You got any documentaries you can think of, Adam?
I got 2.
2? Okay.
There was one of the ESPN similar to when you were talking. Bo Knows Bo.
Yes. Yeah.
Was great.
Bo Knows Bo was great.
That was great.
That's the best quote of that documentary. Pat Dye.
Yeah.
When he finally got Bo to commit to come to Auburn, and they were interviewing him and said, "Coach, now that you got Bo, how long do you think it'd be before y'all can beat Alabama?" He said, "About 60 minutes."
Well, and during that documentary, they interviewed Bo. He was talking about he was really upset with the running backs coach
Yep.
at Auburn because he said, it's 100 degrees out here. He said, all of this excess running is not needed. You know, he said, what is this? He said, you know, but of course not everybody was
Not
bowed.
everybody could set out for 2 weeks, come out and beat people to death either.
The other one, and it's actually on now, is, if you've seen it, I think it's on Netflix, Facing Nolan.
Yes.
I've started it.
It's great. And the fact that man never won a Cy Young, somebody should be held accountable for that.
I kept watching that thinking that he had one.
I thought when I heard that he did, I thought, y'all crazy.
And I kept waiting toward the end of that. Well, they're finally going to give him one.
No, I watched it and looked it up. I go, that ain't right. But
he had 7 no-hitters?
Yeah.
7 no-hitters.
7 no-hitters.
Yeah, it was
But
44, so thrown in 100.
Well, what? And older than dirt out there, and Robert Ventura decides to
93,
charge
man,
and
and
beats the
just
crap out of him.
Well,
I loved it.
You know, once he got traded to the Astros, you know,
From the
those
Mets.
first few years of that team was awful.
Terrible.
Okay, and I was looking, you know, and there were years that I think the one year Ryan wins 20 games, and Jim Palmer actually wins the Cy Young over him. Well, but there was like 4 straight years where Ryan is like 12 and 15, 10 and 11.
And it breaks down and shows you how many runs the Astros actually scored.
His ERA was like 2.24. Okay, the Astros were like averaging like 1.7 runs a game.
And look how many innings he pitched. I mean, you can go back and look. I mean, he was pitching.
He was Iron Man. He started them, he finished them.
Yes. And they had to go in extra innings and he would still be throwing.
Well, and the knock on him that all of the experts said when voting was the number of walks, which he did have a high number of walks, hit batters. But Ryan even said it during the documentary when they were talking to him. He says it helps if they think you're a little crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it does. And I think that was part of the reason he was so difficult to hit is, you know, he had,
scared of it.
Yeah, I mean, he could strike you out. He could go 2 games not hitting you, but then again, he might hit
in your hole.
Yeah, he might hit you.
It didn't matter to him.
He might walk 2 in a row and then hit the next one.
Yeah.
You know, but then he'd strike out the side. You know, so
effectively wild, as they always say.
Effectively wild. That's right.
There's one other thing about Alabama, about Bear Bryant. Have you ever seen the Junction Boys?
Yeah.
I think that
the ESPN movie that they made, Tom Berenger, I think he played Bear Bryant.
He did. I think, you know, and I know it's a movie, but I think that was how he was. I mean,
the best part of that movie when the kid comes in, he said, "Coach, arm's a little sore, you know." He said, "I think I'm just going to stay in the hot tub. Not going to practice today." You know, Bear reaches in that drawer and gets out a bus ticket. He said, the boy said, "What's this?" He said, "I'm your starting quarterback." He said, "Listen, son," he said, "I know I'm your new coach and you don't really know me, but he said, with my system," he said, "we probably won't throw the ball about 10 times all year, so I don't want to hear this crap about a hurt arm. You can get on that bus, you can get out there and go to work."
And a movie, nobody brought up Rudy.
Nobody said Rudy.
Yeah.
Because it's Notre Dame. I don't want anything that has to do with Notre Dame. I will not give them any props at all.
No, I mean,
but I'll still watch it if it's on.
I'm still going to watch it if it's on.
It's a great movie.
I'll watch it if it's on. But that's not very accurate either, though.
No.
Once you actually hear the real story.
Once you hear the real story.
No, it's not even close.
No.
Well, coming up next here on xSports Live, our final segment, all 4 of us are going to have our rants. It's coming up next.
Do you have a small farm, a big farm, or just critters in the backyard to feed? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you need to make the short drive down to A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee today. Owner and operator Jamie Ayers has you covered and will treat you right. That's A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air, when you need us, we'll be there.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Don't be left with stumps, overgrown trees, and cluttered land. Make the call today to Bayworth Trimming, licensed, bonded, and insured. Proudly serving the region with years of know-how. Call today 931-300-3554 or visit bayworthtrimming.com.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
This is the xSports Network.
And back here on xSports Live, brought to you by Hinie's BBQ at Hinie's BBQ. It's time for our final segment of the day where guys just want to get something off their chest. It's our rant segment. Who wants to start it off here tonight?
I don't even have one, so Dusty, you go. You said you had one.
Well, I do, and it's not much, and we've talked about it a little bit on the show before, and it's going to be about the NBA. And I got a problem with this whole deal with the Dallas Mavericks and Mark Cuban.
You have to fill me in.
Okay, well, now, I mean, they're trying to fine him. He tanked the last game, trying to get this in the lottery pick.
I got you.
So you got Luka, who is arguably third best player in the NBA, and you sign Kyrie, which Kyrie we know is a nut job.
But can play.
But he can play. So they're 5 games out of first place when they signed Kyrie. Well, now they're not even, they didn't even make the play.
Right.
Well, they tanked this last game. He set everybody. And now the NBA, I think Adam Silver should fine him. And then Jared Stillman out of Nashville says they ought to make him sell the team. Because what are we showing when you got...
When you intentionally lose a game.
Intentionally lose a game. Now, we know the Houston Rockets, they suck. They've lost all year. The Pistons, they've lost all year. So you got these, and San Antonio has lost all year. But you got a team that good with all these players that are professional athletes, and Mark Cuban is supposed to be this stand-up guy, you know, he's on the Shark Tank and all, and we lose on purpose?
Well, it shows the state of today's NBA. Look, go to the Last Dance when Jordan's coming off that broke foot.
Yeah.
And management doesn't want him to play because they want to get that lottery pick.
Yeah.
He said, no, I made a promise to people of Chicago that we're going to make playoffs every year, and I'm playing. And that just shows a difference in today's time.
The thing about it is that is such a hard thing to monitor. Yeah. You know, now in a situation, I'm going to tell you who really first started it, that really started getting into trouble, and it wasn't tanking games, but it was Popovich for San Antonio.
Yes.
Okay, he had Robinson, Elliott, Duncan. He had this, they were winning championships, but this was not a young team.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would happen is, they'd be 8-10 games up. It would be nothing for Robinson or Duncan. He'd sit them for like multiple games at a time. Next time it'd be Elliott, Avery Johnson. And they start. And,
then Tony Parker coming in and
then you got fans say, "Hey, they come to see these guys play."
Well, and I think that's two different things.
That is,
it is
load management versus tanking.
Yeah, the load management was going to be my rant.
Yeah,
but I remember they got on the pop and said, "Look, you can't. You've got to. They have to have an actual." Health reason or whatever. And so he said, all right. So he wrote this waiver that Tim Duncan's sitting out for 2 days. And it said reason why. He said old. That's all I said.
But the thing about it is he could write. He could put in hangnail.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, my thumb's hurting if I could hurt it. So to me, the thing about it is those teams are rewarded.
Yeah.
Those teams are rewarded for that.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to find a system that would benefit, that they're not necessarily guaranteed a reward by finishing last. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like maybe, I don't know how they do the ping pong balls now.
Yeah, it's a lottery.
And then they're after this one kid from France.
Yeah.
I mean, going by the numbers somebody looks like, I mean, we're talking about a legit, can play both ways.
Yeah.
You got a 7-footer who can handle like a point guard, but he can shoot too. So, I mean, I don't know.
And, you know, I'm wondering if you don't kind of like make it even it out to where, let's say, the bottom 30 teams, 32, however many, 30, I think, in NBA. You know, the bottom 3 teams, they get 3 ping pong balls.
Yeah.
The next group of 8 or 10, they get 2.
I think that's pretty.
And the top team get 1. But that still gives you a shot.
Yes, that's all he had was 1.
Yeah. So if you finish dead last, you get the most amount.
But you know, now they're talking Luka. You know, Luka says he'll play 2024 and see how it goes. You know, he's going to move on somewhere, and I hate it for Dallas. I mean, you know, you had Dirk stayed his whole career, you know, as a foreigner, and then you got Luka coming in, he's a great player. He don't play much defense.
Yeah.
But no one does. But the way he plays the offense in basketball, it's impressive to see somebody, because he's slow, but can play, and he's smooth. I don't know. I just think like we've talked about NBA, and we can talk about it for hours. I just think it's really bad for what we're trying to show our kids coming up. It's like, okay, you can lose and maybe you get something better. Try to win every game.
Yeah. Quentin, you got it?
Well, mine was on the player setting. You know, and you're making a lot of money, and the NBA's not played like it used to be. It's not played hard, and a legit injury. I get it.
Yeah.
But to rest, and let's say a poor family out of Memphis bought their kids for Christmas, 4 tickets so all their kids could go watch Steph Curry or LeBron come to Memphis and play, and I didn't feel like playing. He didn't even make the trip.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he bought the tickets.
Exactly.
You just cost that family hundreds of dollars that they're not even going to get to see the player they wanted to see.
Yeah.
But now it's playoff coming up, and they'll play 3 or 4 games back to back. And they don't miss a game.
Yeah.
You know.
Got anything, Adam?
Like I said, I just came here to watch and eat my
into this.
Parmesan sandwich over there. I didn't really plan on this, but I've got 2 little things, and I actually thought of this.
He says that, but guess what? I went to watch softball Monday. Guess who got dragged on and called the last 4 innings of the ball game?
Hey, I was by myself. He did great, man. He did great.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know if this has ever been discussed. LeBron James is a great basketball player.
Yeah.
One of the greatest. Talented, big, strong. I mean, he's a prototype of what you would want. I could understand how kids would look up to him, admire him, no doubt. But I will say something. Anybody that would ever say that man is within half of what Jordan is has no clue what they're talking about. Okay?
No disagreement.
I don't care. Scoring points has nothing to do with being a basketball player, the greatest basketball player of all time. Okay? Anybody that has seen them both, to me, there's no way. And anybody that would say that LeBron is a better player than Jordan, I don't even know if I could ever trust you with my kids supervising. I mean, I seriously doubt that. I doubt your decision-making skills as a human. I wonder how you get up in the morning and know how to put clothes and shoes on. That is the only thing, okay? You have got to be smarter than this. Kids today, my son, you got these 14, 15-year-olds. LeBron was great, talking about Jordan. Look, 10 years ago, those kids were eating crayons in kindergarten. I'm not listening to these kids, okay? Secondly, is this goes out. I got you going over there, huh?
You're giving some great lines.
Hey, I'm giving. I gotta let it go.
I love this. Coached together for over 10 years, so I'm used to this.
Hey, I've got something I can say for this man, but I don't know. We might have to wait off air to see some of the ones because I about lost mine.
You said you had the second one.
Yeah, second one. This could go for softball, baseball, but it's everything. Coaches on the high school level, and I'm just going to say high school, but you could roll it into travel ball as well. You got to have your priorities on what you're trying to do. And I think I know Clint's seen a lot of these coaches too that are specifically out to win softball games and not make their teams better.
Yeah.
And, Coach Burleson's one we've talked about, and I'm just going to use him as an example, but Clint's the same way when he coaches. When we've coached, we'll go play anybody. Because the main thing is, at the end of the day, you want to win, but the main goal is to get your kids where they need to be. And today, it's just so much that everybody's pointing at records.
Yeah.
You
That
know.
25-2 record don't look good when your 2 losses put you out of the district tournament.
Exactly right. You know, and that's the thing. You know, there's
point.
nothing.
Yeah.
When I look at a coach, I don't look at his record. You know, I look, how does he relate to kids? Are those kids getting better? You know, is he being the role model they need? That's what's going to create good softball players, baseball players, and good adults.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I've known, you know, local. I'm not going to name names, but you know, I've seen local high schools here that might have a 10-1 record, but their level of competition is virtually not much at all.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, a team that's from around the area would go there and maybe beat them 16-0.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, just as far as coaches go, I guess one of my rant would be is, you know, have your priorities as a coach. You know, to make your kids better, to let them be good, make them be good examples, to help them improve, and that the record is not the most important thing. So
Well, it's
that's
like
my rant.
Greg was saying on here. He said all he hopes his team does win the last 10 games of the year. 'Cause that's what it takes from district tournament on. Just win the last 10 games. He said, I don't care if we're 10-20 as long as those 10 wins are the last 10 of the year.
And you know a lot, and it's not always the case, but like if you look at basketball, like TWSAA state tournament, I mean, you think of a lot of you can't pay attention to the records.
No.
When you see that bracket open up in TWSAA, you'll see 15-12, and you'll see 27-3.
But that 15-12 team is probably much
Went
better.
all
than
over.
that
You never know,
27.
right? Because you know their 12 losses may have been 8 of those 12 were to 6A schools.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and they're out, and all you think about all the.
On his point, anytime, you know, my 2 oldest kids played softball, and he's been there several times as well. But you get these programs, and you look, and I'm not worried about the team that's 25-3. I'm worried about the team that's 42-16. They played 50 games.
Yes.
Because they're going everywhere and they're playing everybody. That's the one I don't get paired up with. I
That's
want
an experience.
I want to play that one that played very few games and padded their season and had an easy coach. That's the one I want to open up and blow.
You need those kind of coaches that on the way out of the ballpark, hint, will drop the second place trophy into the trash can as they leave.
Like Greg Burleson.
And the moment you say, I'm like, I know that has to be Greg. That has to be Greg.
I did. It's hilarious, too.
We're kind of staying. We're all sort of in a theme here. Mine, I'm all for player empowerment. I'm all for players.
About me, weren't you?
You did
players,
too.
players getting their own at the collegiate level. But I think something needs to be said. Transfer portal ain't everything you think it is. As of right now, guys, 20% of college athletes who are not currently competing, so that's football, basketball, hockey, all the wrestling, all the other sports, 20% of those athletes are currently in the transfer portal. It's the most they've ever had at this point in time. Do you guys know how many, since the portal has existed, how many of those people have been eventually picked up by another school?
No clue.
20% of the 20%.
Really?
So 1 of 5.
It's 1 in 5 actually find a new home from the transfer portal. I know it's tough, but sometimes the greener pastures aren't always green. Sometimes they're blue. Sometimes they're gray. Sometimes they're brown. They're not always greener on the other side. Sometimes the best place you need to be is where you're at right now.
Well, it's the place that they won you over for a reason.
They won you over for a reason. Competition makes you better, just like we were talking about. You play good teams. Those good teams make you better. It's about so now, obviously, there is some situations, and I've seen some of the transfer portal that absolutely make sense. You were never going to play there. It's time for you to move on. But those are also the same people that stuck it out for 2 to 3 years, found out what it was like, and then they eventually moved on to the next destination. But it's, as a old Major League Baseball coach once told me one time, if you're playing on, my goodness, that's another rant for another day. Does your car need to be that loud? No. Put a muffler
I think it was a
on.
blender.
Oh, it was a blender?
Yeah.
On. Anyways, that's another.
They're making a milkshake, AJ.
I'm sorry.
I ordered it.
Thanks, Adam.
That's all right.
But that's another rant for another day. By the way, 2nd Street in Lawrenceburg is not Daytona. Don't do 80 by it. Some of us have kids, dogs, other people. Don't do 80 on 2nd Street in Lawrenceburg. Please.
You got to be on the corner of Locust if you
That's
take it back.
my house at 2:30 in the morning that you're acting
Beechwood,
like
man.
Dale Earnhardt at the Daytona 500. No one cares. Anyways,
Thank God for rednecks.
That's a
Loud
daily
trucks
rant that
and-
my wife has to hear on a daily basis. Like, really, do you need to do 80 on 2nd Street? It's the bumpiest road in the entire town. But anyways, back to us talking about. Now, obviously, there's certain parts in the transfer portal that make sense. But as an old Major League Baseball coach once told me, if you're playing for 7 teams in 6 years, you know what that means? You're probably going to be unemployed. You're probably selling insurance. So, and I watched a video the other day of it's like all of these internet basketball superstars who lit up the AAU circuit. You know how many of those guys are actually turned into NBA All-Stars?
Probably not many.
0.
Well,
how many actually?
That's another rant that I can say for another day. But you know, I even started noticing it on the girls' side. But you go to these, I've coached some of all these girls in AAU, and you go to these big tournaments, and you just see what they're being taught and how they're being taught and the way they go out there and play. There's no team concept in it.
And then
it's let me get mine. You know,
maybe you'll get
then they come under the bright lights. They got to play like a team.
And I'm talking trash talking. And I'm talking to coaches. The coaches talking more trash than the players.
Hey, my buddy's daughter plays 5th grade, and they're an AAU team out of Murfreesboro. And he's told me some of the teams they've run up against. He said the coaches are absolutely horrendous.
Right.
But one thing about what you're talking about, and maybe I'm wrong, but has this money that these kids are now getting, is it changing some of it?
It's some of that.
Because I think about, and you know, you got, and I'll talk about Tennessee just for a second. You got this quarterback coming in that's got all this money coming to him.
Nico?
Yeah.
Yeah, just made an NIL deal with Walmart.
Walmart, yeah. So, okay, so what if he comes in and then you got this other quarterback that's there coming in as well? That's going to be getting a little bit of that money. And Nico plays, you know, he gets the starting job. As this other guy, he's just going to say,
Well, one of them's definitely, I mean, if you're a Tennessee fan like I am, you're hoping Nico doesn't never see the field next year because you hope Joe Milton has a breakout year. But Nico or one of those guys are gone after next year.
So, but if Joe Milton has a breakout, I mean, I know he's done, but is Nico just going to suck his thumb and get pissed off and be like,
I don't. I think he's. You
never know.
I think he'll probably be.
But we didn't see this, you know. People,
that is the problem it takes. Like you may get that 5-star quarterback, but that don't mean you'll keep him.
I have to listen to it from one of my friends about Alabama and their quarterbacks. He said, I don't understand why these quarterbacks stay there. And I went, really? He's like, I'd get in the portal. Why? Well, you ain't going to get to play but 1 year. I said, yeah, but you got a chance to win a national championship while you're there.
Heighten exposure and eventually go to the NFL.
Right.
That's what Bama does.
I mean, all the quarterbacks, I mean, most of our quarterbacks that have stayed, you know, they've sit and waited their turn. AJ was one. I mean, he sat behind McElroy, and then, he did play 3 years. You know, and Hurts did leave and go to Oklahoma. But, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think the money's playing such a big role in a lot of this.
Yeah, that's just my rant. I'm sure it'll probably expand at some point because it's a problem in every sport, and nobody's finding the permanent spot. So that's it for our rant segment tonight. So for Adam Lindsay, Clint Brazier, Dusty Kaiser, for our producer extraordinaire Kevin Wright, I'm AJ Good. Have a great evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow night at wherever game will be.
This is the xSports Network.